Welcome back to the Emotionally Intelligent Parenting Podcast, and we are officially 2 years old. Woohoo! Okay, it's been 2 years since I nervously started recording for the very first time and kind of wondered, is anyone going to listen? Anyway, turns out yes, some people are listening, and there's actually quite a few of you, and you enjoy the episodes. You could be doing anything else with your time. You could be listening to a million other podcasts, but you're listening to the Emotionally Intelligent Parenting one. So I thank you for that. What started out as actually a tiny spark of an idea to help parents and educators understand emotional intelligence has kind of grown into this global movement. I think some of you might know, some of you are in the community online that I have on Facebook. It's Let's Raise Emotionally Intelligent Kids. And that started out with me just inviting my friends and family, and we had like 10 members back in 2019. And then it's just grown and absolutely blossomed. I think we have about 140,000 parents and educators and therapists in there now. It's amazing. And the same with my Instagram. People have just, I don't know, you guys just get it and you love it. And I love that you love it. So I want to share in this kind of birthday episode some of the biggest and best lessons that I have taken away and that you guys have shared were like golden nuggets for you. I'm going to share a few stats because I was blown away when I thought, okay, let me look in the back end of like where we upload the podcast and have a look at, you know, who we're reaching and how many places and how many listens and everything we have. I actually also have some really cool golden nuggets of wisdom. I found these 10 kind of like one-liners that I think are going to really hit home for you guys. They definitely did for me. I actually want to kind of print some of these out and stick them on my wall because they're these little sound bites that I'm starting to remember them and starting to say them over and over when I get called to do like a speaking engagement or something like that. And they're just so powerful. They hit home, they hit really deep, and they remind me why I'm doing this stuff, especially in the moments where I'm just home with the kids and they are bugging me, or like I can feel my nervous system is like building. And if I could just like pluck one of these out or have them stuck on my fridge, it would be so helpful. Actually, and I'm also going to share with you guys what is next because I have some exciting things in the pipeline. Okay. So let me get some of these cool stats out of the way. Firstly, we have listeners from over 154 countries. That just blew my mind when I read that. What I had to do was, like I said, I went into the platform where we upload the podcast and edit and everything like that. And I had to kind of check from when we first launched, it was 1st of November 2023, and looking at all of the listens, all of the downloads, all of the countries and all of the episodes, 154 countries came up. And I was like, is that an error? That was just wild to me. If you include this episode, it's 114 episodes, and we are at something, like it changes every day, but something over 76,000 downloads. What? And even though we've done 114 episodes, some of those are solo episodes, you guys will know. Some of them, a lot of them, were conversations with experts and therapists and educators and psychologists and authors. If you guys go back through, like if you have time or if you are commuting or traveling or something, or driving, like I listen when I'm driving to podcasts and things, and you will see so many inspiring conversations with people. Some that I was like, God, I can't believe this person said yes. Like they're coming on the podcast. Oh my God, almost died. So I'm going to share a few of those with you and some of the biggest lessons. Before we go any further, I want to quickly acknowledge the Darug Nation. They are the traditional custodians of the land on which I live, work, and record these videos and this podcast. I want to pay my respects to all First Nations people, their elders, and their ancestors, and I acknowledge that sovereignty was never ceded, and I stand in solidarity towards a shared future. These are some of the best takeaways that you guys have told me. And then I actually also want to share 10 really powerful lessons of emotional intelligence. First takeaway, you cannot teach calm from chaos. That means the more grounded you are, the more that your child learns safety and connection and how to navigate their own big emotions. kind of goes along with, if we want to raise emotionally intelligent kids, we first must become emotionally intelligent adults. And when I say that, I don't mean like, don't worry, like don't focus on your kids and teach them and model, just worry about yourself and get yourself up to scratch. No, because we're never going to be perfect, which is actually one of my points. I think it's something that we do all the time ourselves, while like we are listening, learning and growing and evolving. And at the same time, we're helping our kids to learn how to be emotionally intelligent too. Number 2 is repair is way more powerful than perfection. So emotional intelligence and being emotionally intelligent means owning our own moments and owning our behavior and being accountable, not erasing them and not being this like zen, perfectly calm robot of a parent 100% of the time. Number 3, I love this one. Parenting is leadership because you set the emotional tone in your home, not through control, but through connection. And I know sometimes it feels like we have kids who maybe they're really sensitive or deeply feeling or neurodivergent, or they bring their own big emotions into the situation or into the room, right? But yet at the same time, we are still able to be and step into the role of being the leader, where we kind of set the tone and the energy for what happens next and how our relationships go. Number 4, your triggers are your teachers. I kind of love the alliteration. I think that's the speech pathologist in me. Your triggers are your teachers. I am still learning this after years of doing this stuff. Our triggers really show us where healing and growth want to happen. It's like a call out. It's like an opportunity or like a little beacon. We can just sit in the frustration and be like, that person, I can't believe, why is it always me? Like, this is so unfair. He never helped. Like, we can go down that rabbit hole, or we can go, this is really triggering. I am super stressed or overwhelmed or so mad right now. Let me take a breath and think like, what is the gap? What is this opportunity? What is this trying to teach me? Like, there's still a lesson for me to learn and understand here. Okay, number 5 is boundaries. Love talking about boundaries. I'm such a work in progress. You guys are going to be like, this person she doesn't know what she's talking about. I do. And yet I'm also still not perfect. Boundaries are love in action. That can kind of sound counterintuitive. Totally get that. But here we go. Here's my take. Boundaries say, I care about you and I care about me and your sibling or your friend and this space, like the space we're in. So when I think about boundaries with my kids and saying yes or no to things, I think about, am I keeping them healthy and safe? They're my kind of 2 main values there, or like thought processes. And are we keeping people around us safe and the space that we're in, like our belongings or the couch or the door that you just slammed? So yeah, boundaries are love in action. Okay, I actually want to tell you guys about the top most listened to episodes. I think that makes sense. I want to kind of count down. You guys, my amazing listeners, you have loved some of these episodes more than others. Hopefully you've gotten some little nuggets from each of the conversations or even the solo episodes. But there are some that we just noticed there are spikes in the data. And I'm like, I always find it really interesting to see what people love and what they listen to the most. So I would invite you guys to go back and listen if you don't know what I'm talking about with a couple of these episodes, or if you have listened but you want to re-listen. I'm actually in the middle of listening to an audiobook for the second time partly because I listen when I'm driving. So I know I miss bits, but also because it's so good, I want to hear it again because I know that's just going to deepen my absorption, like my ability to comprehend and really understand and think about and process what I'm listening to. So there you go. There's an invitation if you want to listen to some of these. I reckon I sometimes think of them as little emotional intelligence masterclasses in disguise. Don't know if that makes sense. Okay, so I've actually, so I'm a little bit biased because I was looking at the top most listened to episodes, but then I wanted to see what were the what's the data for the ones. I think I had 3, probably more, but 3 main ones where Alex, my husband, came in and we did a podcast episode together. So I looked at some of those numbers and they're pretty high too. So I've included them even though they're not the top ones. Let me go through the most popular episodes first. I don't know if anyone listened to the Dr. Vanessa Lapointe one. This was episode 18, so way back, a long time ago. It came out I think it was like February 2004. This one was huge. I mean, I have not met anyone who doesn't love Dr. Vanessa. So we talked about big emotions, attachment, and intention in parenting. That was a really, really good one. She just, like, everything she says, I'm like, oh my God, I love it. Yes. So Dr. Vanessa's one. Also, the next top most listened to one was a punishment-free home with emotional intelligence. God, I could talk about this for a long time, but I'm just going to nutshell it. I shared about that and about this concept of the fact that we have a punishment-free home on Instagram, because I post about the episodes on my socials. I share them in my emails so you guys get updates and stuff. People on Instagram lost their minds. And they still lose their mind anytime I talk about the concept of like having a punishment-free home and not punishing your kids. They're like, oh, but aren't your kids going to turn out to be some like waste of space, lazy, rule the roost, ungrateful? I don't know, I put an accent on, but but people cannot get their head around not punishing their kids. They think, how will they learn? They're going to be, lazy and self-absorbed. And, oh my God. I'm like, guys, you don't get it. Please don't watch one of my reels or see one of my posts and make these giant assumptions. Anyway, that's what people do online. So I'm okay with that. But that was a really good episode. And I talked about how we do that and how do we still have boundaries and teach our kids about the consequences of life and their actions. So if one of my kids hits the other one because they're mad or, won't let them take a turn watching their show on Netflix, and they have all the turns, like there is going to be a naturally occurring consequence. And like, what is that? And how do we deal with that? And how do we show them that? And how do we make that meaningful for them? Rather than like, oh, you haven't shared the remote, you're watching three shows in a row. That's unfair. Give me that. You're not getting any more. Or, wow, you hit your brother just because he took your markers. Okay, well, no iPad for you. We don't have an iPad, but you know what I mean. Okay, so that was a really good one. That's episode 11, again, way back when. So episode 11 is a punishment-free home. Can't talk today. I'm so excited. No, and actually, this is an interesting one. This is a later episode, number 45, ADHD, Aggression and Big Emotions with Rebecca Challoner. So if you guys don't know Rebecca Challoner, she's the founder of the My Spirited Child ADHD conference, and which recently she sold. So she has moved on, and she's moved on to do other bigger, better things. But I still speak at the ADHD conferences around Australia and New Zealand. And so I had her on. She told some wild stories about being a kid and then a teenager with ADHD, and how she was treated by teachers and how she was just completely misunderstood, and how she went on to obviously found and open this international conference company, and is a trained lawyer, and also owns 2 therapy centers across Australia. So like wild stories. I love her so much. A couple of other big ones were episode 12, a mini masterclass on emotional intelligence. So that is a mini masterclass. If you want to like dive in and think, okay, what is this like? What does it actually look like in real time? And what are the practical strategies and stuff? That's a really good one. And interestingly, maybe this was the time of year because, it was November 2023. That was early. 10 emotional intelligence tips to navigate burnout. So if you're feeling a bit burnt out, then that is a great one for you. Lots of good tips in there, and kind of hidden, almost like hidden secrets, things that we don't realize that contribute to burnout and what we can do to help. Okay, so I also did note down the 3 that Alex came on to, and we did a podcast episode together. This was number 52, our husband and wife duo on emotional intelligence and boundaries and protecting our kids, because he's very protective and very black and white in some situations. And I'm like, well, maybe he didn't realize that. And he's like, no. So he keeps me very balanced. And then I also in turn balance him a little bit. Anyway, 54 was parenting on the same page, my husband's journey into emotional intelligence. So that coming from, he shared a bit about his childhood and how he was raised and how that was very different to me. And so just the shift into understanding and learning a little bit, like it was kind of drip feeding. It wasn't me like shoving it in his face being like, babe, you need to do this and stop doing that. This is like what the research says. Yeah. So anyway, and then 102 is mum versus dad. This is a popular one. Mum versus dad, the best way to handle power struggles. So Alex came back on the podcast for that one. The podcast. Okay, so let me share just before we finish 10 golden nuggets of wisdom that I think you might be out and about doing something, but man, you might want to write some of these down. Come back to this episode, okay? Number 1. Oh, I was going to say this is one of my favorite. Nope, they're all really good. Kids cannot learn to regulate the emotions they aren't allowed to have. Mind-blowing. I shared that one actually on stage when I was at the ADHD conference recently, and I just saw all these like nods, and I heard this really quiet, like from down there in the audience, this like, like, you know, when something just lands. Anyway, so that was a good one. Number 2, golden nugget. Teach your kids to verbalize their emotions so they don't grow up to be adults who shut down when they feel anything other than happiness. Not my quote. Some of these are not mine. I'm just sharing them. Oh, I'm annoyed at myself now because I didn't write down like who. I think that one's Estefania. Yeah, didn't write down who wrote some of these. I'm sorry, but they're really good all the same. Number 3 is if you want to give your children something you didn't have, worry less about the material things and more about emotional regulation, accountability, and conflict resolution skills. It's a good one. Number 4, hitting children does in fact teach them a lesson that you can get your way with people weaker than you by hurting them. Whoa. Number 5 is if we want more emotionally intelligent men, we must get comfortable with boys showing emotions and normalize vulnerability. That's mine. I like that one. A lot of us are worried about our boys or about our men, our husbands, our partners, you know, people in our life, and we see a lot of the really scary outcomes of when things get too much and they get overwhelmed and they cannot cope with situations and the emotions that come with them. And I'm like, we can help to avoid a lot of that if we teach our boys about understanding and navigating emotions. All right. Number 6 is emotional intelligence doesn't mean tolerating mistreatment. It means responding with understanding rather than judgment or blame. So yes, you still get to have boundaries. No, you don't have to accept crappy treatment. But it doesn't mean that you just like snap back or blame or shame or judge or criticize or basically stoop to that person's level. Not easy, but okay. Number 7 is emotional intelligence is not soft. It's strategic power for parents. So this is something interesting. Even Alex said when he came on the podcast that time, actually a couple of times, I remember clipping this quote in like Canva or wherever I did my little bits of editing. And I clipped it for social media, and it was a part where he said emotional intelligence for parents is super effective, but man, it is like the most difficult and demanding way to parent, and it takes a lot of self-discipline. And I was like, thank you for saying that, like, because this is not the easy way. It's not the quick, easy, fast way to get your kids to be quiet and do what they're told. But oh my gosh, if you think about the implications later in life, about the humans that we actually want to raise and the people in like leadership positions, you know, the people in charge that we want to have around and making big decisions, I think we want them to be emotionally intelligent and resilient and not act like children. Okay, number 8 is, this is a good one. This is a simple one. Calm is contagious. And so is chaos. So you choose which ones your kids will catch. It's just a reminder, okay? Take a deep breath, Steph. Your kids are only 8 and 11. They're not supposed to be super mature and, you know, speak kindly to each other all the time. You're kidding yourself. So that's a good one. Number 9, another powerful one. Emotionally intelligent people don't confuse strength with suppression. They know that true resilience comes from feeling, processing, and expressing emotions, not hiding them. Yeah, that's true resilience. Resilience is not that whole idea of like stoicism and being like cool, calm, collected, and tough. I think that's BS. I'm like, you're missing so much if you are just showing this one side to you where you are like strong and stoic and cope with everything. I'm like, that's not real. That's not real. It's BS. Okay, last one. We are raising a generation who will change the world one emotionally intelligent conversation at a time. I think that's just a good reminder for me, even though I'm sharing a lot of stuff online in the podcast and on socials and stuff like that. Even just one conversation can change. It's done it for me. It's changed my mind about the way I relate to my kids, or the way I connect with my husband, or the way I run my business. Like just one conversation sometimes makes people go, I didn't think of it like that. Or, you know what? That's a really good point. Or I want to do more of that. Anyway, so hopefully you can share this with someone who, might take away, I don't know, some of these golden nuggets for themselves. Okay, just quickly, what is next in like the 3rd year? We're obviously going to have more conversations, real conversations with parents, with experts. We're going to do some live Q&A sessions, which is going to be exciting. Some behind the scenes stories. I always share lots of those from my own home, obviously carefully, and from my coaching as well. I usually change a few little facts and information so that they're more like anonymous and people can't think, oh my God, is that my kid? And drum roll please, because I'm so excited and a little tiny bit ashamed about this. It's taken me 2.5 years. I'm finally recording an audiobook for my book, From Chaos to Connection. It's been so long. I feel, a little bit embarrassed because I still get asked so much, oh, is it on audio? And I'm like, no, it will be. And I've just had so many projects on and so many collaborations and stuff to do. And we run 2 businesses here, so it is busy. And we have kids and you guys get it. So anyway, it's coming. I'm aiming for November. So, like right around the corner. If you've been waiting to listen to From Chaos to Connection in the car or on your walks or while folding laundry or something, it is coming. I've obviously stay tuned on the podcast, but also on my website. Like if you join my newsletter, if you sign up, socials and stuff like that, I will be sharing all about it. If you don't already follow me on Instagram, I'm at emotionally.intelligent.parent. And yeah, you'll get updates there and probably some sneak peeks and stuff. I already shared a picture of my like tiny closet, which is where I'm going to be recording, because I could do it here, but it's kind of like, you guys can't see. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see. I've got my arms out. It's like big. There's brick wall. There's a window. We're getting into summer here in Australia, so there are going to be cicadas coming in like any second. And so, I just want the audio to be really, really good for you guys. Also, actually, you might see some bloopers where I'm like, I already said no. I'll make you a snack in 10 minutes. Go away. Or like, oh no, that's spelled wrong. How did we miss that? Oh, well. So like, I'm actually going to be reading from, my book. Again, if you guys are on YouTube and you're watching, you can see I'm holding up. This is the very, 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 very first copy I ever received. It's got this black band across the front that says not for resale, not for resale, because it's an author copy. And it's a bit dirty and gross, but that's my like very first copy. So yay. Okay. Huge thank you for being part of this mission. I think just for believing what parenting is about, and that it can be done with compassion and care and calm and courage and emotional intelligence. Like it is doable. It is possible, even if you weren't raised this way. If this podcast has helped you in any way, please, I would love if you share it or leave a review or tell a friend about it. This is like these little grassroots moments, I think, is where we grow this movement of emotionally intelligent families. And I would love to see more of that. Remember, you're not just raising kids, you are raising the next generation of emotionally intelligent humans. Okay, so this is the Emotionally Intelligent Parenting Podcast. You guys know me, I'm Stephanie Pinto, your host. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next week for another hopefully heartful and inspiring conversation.